Neil, let's start with Ryan Schofield, who you've brought into the club today, a young goalkeeper from the Premier League. What do you think he can offer you?
Hopefully, and keep the ball out of the net. To be perfectly honest with you, we talked. I've talked with Mark Crossley a bit, and I've obviously tried to take stock over the month or so that I've been in, just to see what I think, and I just wanted to strengthen around this whole squad everywhere I could, and I thought, with 50-something goals going in, and I'm not blaming Ross Fitzsimmons for any of them. I'm just trying to say, in general, I just feel competition will be really good. So we looked at various options. We had some experienced players put into us, and some sort of journeyman goalkeepers put into us, and we looked at various. But the one name that kept coming back as so highly regarded, and the one name that kept coming back that we could get, and when we watched we liked, and we did all of our due diligence, was Ryan. And so we don't feel like it's a gamble. We've done our homework. He's so highly thought of, and he's 6'3" and a bit, and lots of presence. So we'll see how that one goes. And like I say, now we've got strength in depth. It gives us the opportunity, if we wanted a lone Brown out, we could. So it just gives us a little bit of flexibility, and it's not costing us a fortune.
If required, do you think he's ready to go straight into the first team?
I've got no qualms throwing him in. I think sometimes when you get a goalkeeper who's one of the best in his age group in England and stuff, the only time that a club bottom of the league, like Notts County, can get him is when it's a first loan. It's not first loan in men's football. He's been at Telford and FC United of Manchester, so he's done a little bit of men's football anyway. But like I say, the feedback we get from a lot of people that have worked closely with him, and a lot of people we've asked that have worked with him, is that the kid's an outstanding prospect.
You also signed Jim O'Brien earlier this week. What do you think he can bring to your side?
Well, I've seen what he can bring already. He's got a real personality about him. He's not worried about what he says. He'll get stuck into a few people. He'll demand. He'll push. He runs all day. On Tuesday in training, twice I watched him play great give and goes round the corner and bend the ball in the top corner, and I shouted at him, I said, "That's not what I've signed you for, lad. Get back to kicking people." So he did laugh, but I'm sure it was just a one-off first day, at school, and he got carried away. But no, he's trained brilliantly, and already he's got right into the boys, and I think he came into a similar situation at Bradford at the start of their season, and he's the sort of personality we need.
You've had a busy week, also got Cedric Avina until the end of the season. How important was it to get that deal through? Yeah,
He never played in the early games, and then when I was going to put him in, he got injured, and then I've put him in lately, and I think he's he's done well, and as I say, I want to strengthen in all positions, and I want competition. I don't want to pick the team by default. I want to be able to pick the team and struggle to find space on the bench for players who normally might have a chance of getting in the team. So that shows that you've strengthened, and Cedric so far has proved that he's worth, at least till the end of the season, worth keeping, and hopefully his performances won't drop from now.
You always said that you'd have to let players go to bring players in. Terry Hawkridge is leaving the club. Was that a tough decision for you to make? Yeah, I just think, sometimes an offer comes in, a club really want a player, or a player's got a chance maybe to go somewhere, and you look and you go, okay, well, there's one that we already know can go, and is his game time going to be limited for us? And if it is, then it's the right thing, and like you say, it helps balance up that books that we talked about, and the chairman will be happy if we can achieve it. When you came in, you said the club would make baby steps. You didn't expect progress, and big progress immediately. You got another point at the weekend. Okay, you were 3-1 up, but do you see that as the baby steps that you thought about at the start of you being here?
I try and look at it positively, and like you say, there's been promising signs, albeit sporadically. We haven't had the consistency. I looked when I first came in at trying to simplify things with a system that I find very easy to coach and leaves all the grey areas out, but quickly realised it's not suiting enough of our players, and we weren't sort of giving ourselves a good chance to win games. So we've tried a couple of different things to try and manage our way through and make a system work that suits the players we've got, and the last few weeks we've had some decent performances with it. I believe and I feel like we've dropped 7 points over the last 4 games with the second half at Macclesfield, the Bury game, and certainly being 3-1 up with 20 seconds to go until half time and having a deflected shot that I think changes the course of the game. Defective clearance, sorry. I feel like we've had 7 points that we've lost and we can't afford to. So there's that element of negativity looking back and going, if only. But obviously the positivity is we've put ourselves in them situations.
Cambridge at the weekend. I'm trying not to say 6-pointer, but how massive, I've done it, how massive is this game in your season at the weekend?
Yeah, I try not to say it as well. Obviously people look at the table and it's a natural thing. If you lose, then they win, and the points become harder from that moment on. I look at it, we've got 17 games, we're nearly into the final third of the season. And we've got 17 games and we really need to start putting points on the board. So whether it's Cambridge, whether it's Lincoln, whether it's Yeovil, MK, whoever it is, we need to find ways of winning, picking up points away from home, and we need to start quickly. So yeah, it could be classed as a 6-pointer, but for me it's just an opportunity to get some points that we've thrown away really in the last 4 games.
Club have done a great offer of £2 per ticket, so there's going to be a big crowd in already. We know that. Is that something that you think will help your players in such an important game?
I hope so. I think last season it went really well, didn't it? And like I say, and I've said this before to the fans, tough times need tough people, and that the players need to become them tough people that deal with it. But the fans also need to take that, any apprehension and anxiety that they're feeling and turn it into a positive vibe. And for 95 minutes at 3 o'clock on Saturday, make as much noise, get behind the players as much, even if it's not going our way. And then when 5 o'clock comes, they can say what they want and do what they want depending on how the game's gone. But let's make them 95 minutes as positive as you can, because it's the only thing that's going to help.
But looking at it, if you can get that victory in front of a big crowd, everyone will go away positive, the fans, the players, the staff. It could just be that result you need to kickstart your season, couldn't it?
Yeah, every game gives you that opportunity, and I say I can be as positive as I can be, and I am really positive in the change room, really try and motivate the boys, really give them belief, but there's nothing like winning games of football. If the players won a couple of games of football and kept a clean sheet and scored goals, they start thinking, oh, we can do this, and it doesn't even need me to say it then. So winning gives you so many things. There's more than 3 points and that good feeling, and we haven't managed it enough this season. That's obvious.
Thank you.
Neal, with the transfer business that you've already done, how far into your plans are you? Are you midway through at the very start, or is there still a lot more work to go? A lot more to go.
I thought getting them in before Colchester was going to be tough. We managed to get one over the line. Like I say, Jim, I know you've probably seen Jim's article. I worked so hard on Jim for a number of weeks. So to get that one over the line Tuesday was a delight. And then obviously Ryan's, we started the process with the keeper a couple of weeks ago, and we've ended up after due diligence getting there. So these things, we're 9 days into a window and we've got 3 in. I think that's not bad going, but I'll be honest, there's been some setbacks along the way. Like I said, we had an offer in for a player that broke his foot and so on and so forth. So we've had some setbacks, but that's the nature of the beast. You have to just be determined to keep going and do whatever you can to make these players want to come to Notts, like with Jim O'Brien, who said we pestered the life out of him and he realised how much he was wanted.
Yeah, I was going to say, is that the kind of manager you are? Is like when you want a player, you literally just bug them constantly? And
yeah, I mean, you get the problem is he's trying to the way I need to do it, trying to cipher through all the fluff on the outside. So the amount of agents will put their players into you, the amount of people to say, oh, I think you might be able to get him from that club or this or what you're looking for, and so on and so forth. And before you know it, you've got all these players, you go, oh, I liked him, I've always liked him, is he available on that? And by the time you then go and do your due diligence, your work, and you get to the crux of it, which is either through their manager or their recruitment guy, you find out the player don't want to come, the player won't move, he's on too much money, and all of a sudden you just go, right, that one says that. So you have to kind of sometimes, you have your list, you have your profiles, and you go, well, he fits that profile, and then by the time you've ciphered through the throwaway comments that people might throw your way, you realise that it's just not possible to get certain players in.
So So is there a lot more work to do? How many players?
Yeah,
Would you like
yeah. Well, I don't want to name how many because then you'll say you didn't get that many, and you're not very good at your job. Yeah, you're. I know what it's like. Don't give numbers out. We are looking to strengthen in a few areas still, and we are trying to balance the types that we get. You know, already if you see, you know, there's two younger players in, but we believe two very, very good young players, and then we've brought in a totally different character in Jim, a bit older and different qualities. So there'll be that balance of trying to get, you know, if we could all sign a 26-year-old with 300 games under his belt, that's, you know, he's in the prime of his life, that would be perfect. But not many clubs want to let them ones go.
In terms of Ryan, when did you first become aware of him, and what are his main strengths?
Well, it's funny because we've worked really hard at Wimbledon in the past on goalkeepers. So I've actually, because we've made some mistakes a few years back on one or two decisions, we've actually gone through a process over the last couple of years. So I've got more kind of lists on goalies and more profiles on goalies now than I've ever had, and I think it's an expert position that I don't know. I know what I like from my goalies, but I couldn't tell you how to coach it, so to speak. That's where the goalkeeping coaches come in. So within that, you know, there was one or two that I was well aware of that were outstanding prospects, and I won't name names, but there was a couple of Premier League clubs and various, and they were all on our lists to go through. So we went through them again. Then we looked at availability. Then we spoke to plenty of people. So we've watched loads of footage and got different opinions from various people. And with Ryan, he kept coming out at the top, where we kept going, okay, you know, people might see this as 19-year-old League Two dogfight, blah blah blah, but with the processes we've gone through, you know, everyone that we've spoken to has said, you won't get this kid again if you don't get him now.
Yeah. What are his main strengths?
Shot stopping, I hope, and catching the ball, I hope. No, I think he's got a decent kick on him, which, as we all know in this league. But he's 6'3.5". He's very athletic. I've watched this morning. Similar to, like, Ross is very athletic around his goal too. You know, he's excellent shot stopper. I think when he played in the England under-20 tournament recently, he got goalkeeper of the tournament. So he's the goalkeeping coach that's worked with him has, you know, went through a load of goalies that he's worked with over the last 5 years, and you go, blimey, you've worked with him, and some of them are now in the Championship, in the Premier League. And he said, I'd take this kid all day ahead of him. And you went, okay, you know, there's somebody day in, day out who sees his faults, as well as us watching the games we've watched and collating the information. So, listen, he's young. You know, it may be that we don't throw him in for 17 games on the trot, we don't know, but we feel with him and Ross, we've got two players competing for a position. We wanted to get Brand some game time on loan. It strengthens the department, worst case scenario.
In terms of players going out, have you had any offers for any other players?
Not so much offers. There's other players that have got a few interested, sniffing and asking questions, but as always, you know, with these things, there's lots of things that have to be done for a player to go, financials, location, you know, whatever, extra years if that's what they want. So, and sometimes they don't want to, it doesn't work for them. So, you know, that's why I don't treat players poorly and just, you know, dismiss them. I try and work with them because you know, sometimes you have to help them to realise what the best move is for.
Injuries, how's Matt Tootle doing?
So, Matt Tootle, to be fair to him, I was made aware Saturday morning last week that Matt Tootle had a dead leg, and I was made aware that he said he couldn't play on Saturday morning. I've had dead legs, so I was a bit, you know, dead leg, come on, we're fighting relegation here. So I was a little bit annoyed that he hadn't gone through a dead leg, and in fairness to Matt, and I've apologised to him since, he's got a grade 2 strain in his thigh, so which is shown on a scan, and he knew that, and he had actually informed the physio on Thursday and Friday that he felt like he was struggling. I wasn't aware of it till the Saturday morning, and hence I was disappointed that he wasn't available. I didn't name the team, which was fine, but I was disappointed that he wasn't available. So in fairness to Matt, he tried to do the right things all the way along, and he genuinely had a grade 2 tear, which is totally different to a dead leg. So you know, I've said to him, listen mate, I'm sorry, I didn't, you know, I thought you'd pulled out, I thought you could have played, but you obviously couldn't, and you know, that's a misdiagnosis on with the injury, and we'll now try and get you back fit so that you can play a part. And he wants to. He said, I'm not one that shies away, and I want to be out on that pitch. I want to be helping. I'm devastated. So, hopefully he'll be back.
How long? Expected time frame will it be out?
Depends how quickly they heal, but this one could be anything from a couple of weeks to 3 or 4 weeks. But like I say, it's a culmination of players coming back from injury and then trying to play 4 games in 9 days, 3 games in 9 days, and eventually accumulative fatigue has caused the problem.
Kane Hemmings?
Kane's still not quite there yet, so again he's a doubt whether we'll be able to get him back on that training field next week. We don't know. Enzio, we're hoping we'll be back on the training field next week. He's done an awful lot of running, so when they come back from an injury longer term, they have to hit certain distances, certain high intensity distances before they're allowed to come back in a training, and we know that they've got a good base. So hopefully when he does come back, like the same with Louis, it won't take too long to introduce him to the first team.
I was going to say, Louis got 90 minutes on Tuesday.
60 on Tuesday.
Yeah. How's he responded to that, and what's it like to have him back?
Brilliant. He said he was a little bit rusty on Tuesday, although the pitch conditions and the wind didn't help to a great game. But he's one that works hard in training. He trains at a high intensity. There's a lot that I've had to kick up the backside and get the intensity better, but with him he trains at a good intensity. So yeah, he's certainly in the reckoning. He comes back in, and we've just got to weigh up, obviously not getting him injured again, but whether he's up to playing a longer part of the game.
Big crowd expected on Saturday. Will that inspire the players, do you think?
I hope so. If you're a footballer, you want to play in front of big crowds, particularly at home. It's a wonderful idea that the club have come up with. I know it went down really, really well last time, and I've said before, you could bring a whole family for 15, 20 people, friends, whatever, for 30 quid. It's incredible, and to go to a sporting event, and also we need the local, no matter whether you're a Notts fan or not, we need the locals to try and get behind and make sure that one of their clubs remains in the league, and just give us everything, and hopefully it will be a really, really good day if the players can perform on the pitch.
Does it underline, when you see gates being banded around, expected 14,000, does it underline the potential that's here at Notts?
Of course, yeah, absolutely. But like I say, we can't go over the past. There's been mistakes made, and it hasn't quite worked out for a number of reasons, and football's that way. It punishes everything. So what we need to do at the moment is, there's loads of things that you can do going forward, structure, put loads of things in place to improve and be better. But at the moment, we've got 17 games to save everything we want to save for this club, and then we'll look at the long term after.